Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino ranks every boss in Salt and Sanctuary from easiest to hardest. It's currently 2016 right now, so I'm not late. This list contains every boss except the LOL tutorial one, because that's some obvious garbage. I'm running a strength build throughout the entirety of this campaign, so that's going to factor in. Let's start. Number 1, Karstjaw the Cruel. The easiest boss in Salt and Sanctuary is Karstjaw the Cruel, which is a pretty late game boss, but nonetheless he's got absolutely nothing going on. He's got a teleporting downward stab that I never once dodge in this video, but since he always seems to follow it up with his dagger pool that takes 10 minutes to actually activate, you can sit there and heal right on top of it before rolling away. I assume it would maybe one-shot you if you accidentally threw your controller down a flight of stairs while it was spawning, but you will never in your life get hit by this move. He doesn't seem terribly interested in avoiding damage, even though he's super frail. I guess wearing a trench coat full of dangly skulls doesn't give you a great armor rating. The silver lining is that this dude's ashes let you transmute into his greatsword, which scales S with strength and is my favorite weapon in the game. You'll see it in later fights. Number 2, the Untouched Inquisitor. Just cause the dude's a virgin doesn't mean you have to give him such a cruel name. The unmolested Inquisitor is a floating pure boy who hovers around half-assedly extending chain blades in your general direction. They're like Kratos's, but bad and not cool. He has pretty good range with them during certain attacks, but well-timed rolls or just running back and forth is all you need to do to avoid. When he attacks from above, his blades come out in a random, slightly staggered order, which makes rolling a matter of luck if you're caught underneath. Better to hug the outside of his range at all times when you're not attacking. Once you've touched the untouched enough times, he'll die. Number 3, the Dried King. Of all the adjectives you could give a king, dried is one of the least intimidating. So what makes this king so fearsome? Oh, he likes being out in the sun. The Dried King just attacks left and right, mostly. Rolling behind him dodges basically everything. The beam lasers are super predictable. The floor immolation attack either needs to be run from, or you can probably stagger him out of it with a heavy weapon. You can see that I'm interrupting like half his attacks, because he seems to have no constitution to speak of, even though he's bulky, which makes no sense. Imagine a boss fight where every attack you do sends the opponent flying across the room into the wall, but his HP bar only depletes by like 2%. You're like, what the fuck? Number 4, the False Jester. I don't know what makes a Jester false. Is he just a super serious guy underneath the hat? Every attack the Jester does either has a jumping or lunging windup, which makes them all predictable AF and no problem to dodge. Stamina management is an obvious must. Counterattack after every dodge until your bar gets too low, then just dodge twice while your bar refills and start the process over. I never use shields in this game because it doesn't suit my agile playstyle, not that Warhammers do, but you can wear light armor with a heavy weapon like this and still roll around pretty fast with proper stat investment. But dodging seems infinitely more rewarding than blocking in general, so if you're a beginner player in a shield trap, I'd suggest trying to get good at rolling everything instead. Invincibility frames are nifty. Number 5, the Bloodless Prince. The Prince is the same strategy as the Dried King in regard to rolling behind it, only the Prince is such a fat ass it takes a roll and a half to get completely behind him. If you stay close, that's really all you have to do, but if you get clipped by an attack and launched, you may trigger a body slam attack that takes up the whole screen that I have no idea how to dodge. Luckily, it doesn't do much damage. If he starts with a punch rather than a slam, it means he's going to do an attack that utilizes all of his limbs, wow, and you'll need room on both sides of him to get away from it. This fight takes about twice as long as some others because the Bloodless Prince is a big bloodless bitch, but it's still pretty rote in practice. Number 6, the Queen of Smiles. Hoping to put a smile on that face, the Queen of Smiles has a variety of sword attacks and is one of my favorite bosses. Her smile appears to have been ripped off, but other than that, she's very pretty. I mean, look at that bod though. You wouldn't hit that with something other than a sword, don't lie. You should roll past her lunge attack and position yourself well to avoid her wheel of blades, which after most of her health is gone, she follows with a rapid charging scoop attack that can be pretty hard to dodge, though if you're right next to her when she starts it, you can dodge behind her pretty good. Super neat boss overall though. Number 7, the Unskinned and the Architect. This boss has you battling a giant skinless troll and some dude that just floats around turning flashlights on and off. The Architect is a non-issue. Killing the troll first is easy when it mostly just trips over you before you go to town on it. This is Karstjaw's sword, by the way. It's only slightly weaker than the anchor axe I was using on Karstjaw himself, but it has like double the attack speed and it destroys everything. The Architect just spawns pools of light that explode if you touch him, but there's a grace period where you can get out of the way if he spawns one directly on you. They don't exactly fill the screen, so it's easy to then just jump around until you plant the creator's corpse right next to his creation. Number 8, the Sodden Knight. There he is, the first real boss of the game, and a solid introduction at that. The Sodden Knight's patterns increase in length and difficulty the more health you take away from him, creating a gradually more interesting and fun fight, which doesn't happen during a lot of other bosses. Sodden means to be saturated with water, which means this knight is so wet. I don't know why he resheaths his sword after every attack, it seems unnecessary. Although impressive that he can fit his sword directly into that slot in one try, so you know the dick game is strong. Number 9, the Mad Alchemist. This is one of the most heavily RNG-associated bosses in the game. You can either annihilate him in seconds or be annihilated in seconds. This time I annihilate him in seconds, so you can see from his salt aura that last time he annihilated me in seconds. Proper staggering and cornering him produces some amazing results. I'll probably have to play this footage like once and a half just to fill time, but it can also go very bad. You can get majorly poisoned, trapped from the slime, sliced by purple scythes, or set on fire by pyro balls, almost all at the same time. But the Mad Alchemist is frail and easy to trap, so even if you die, it's just a dice roll's matter of time before you bring the pain back to him. Number 10, that stench most foul. Ooh, that stench! The idea for this boss was conceived the last time your dad came out of the bathroom, while the concept art was inspired by your mom. It travels around spitting out mouth monsters and racking up some serious dental bills. A long sweeping weapon makes cleaning them up a lot easier, but I can't even one-shot them. Occasionally they'll lose tracking and just hang out in the corner if you move far enough away, but the thing constantly spews them out, so you should try to hit them and the boss at the same time to keep up. What gets me is that Stench Most Foul's black AoE, African American AoE, which looks like another spit attack but then surprises you with a big buff black blast. If it starts breathing poison, do a wall jump and air attack to stay afloat for as long as possible until it dissipates, which is an idea I did not have until after I did all this shit already. Number 11, Kraken Cyclops. This is a pretty rock, paper, and scissors encounter. If the Cyclops is leaning back, jump over the impending attack. If he's raised up, roll behind him, and if you're at 95% health, use a red grass for no reason. I don't know what I was doing. When you jump, you have to do it early enough so you're at the top of it when he comes underneath, or else you'll be blown sky high. Dude's got a great axe, but I clearly have the superior weapon in both size and damage output. As you go along, he'll start to attack in pairs of moves, so you'll have to watch out for even more stuff. When I first started out in this game, I thought this boss was super hard, but once you buckle down and pay attention, you'll see it's formulaic just like most of the others. Number 12, Kraken Worm. You must stay close at all times. If he rears his head back, dodge roll behind him immediately, or you will burn in searing flames and die screaming. I've been investing in basically nothing but strength at this point, and it's up to 30 already, so my powerful bludgeoning is making the boss skip a bunch of its attacks. When the worm starts to fly away, follow it to the side of the screen it's going, and stay there so you're not in the path of the resulting breath. Although sometimes it will start spewing while it's still off screen, so just try not to have bad luck and you'll do great. Number 13, Ronin Cran. This guy's sword has seen better days, like when it was not broke. Cran might have his own past, but he's not that good a fighter. He's got some combos, but he also leaves himself exceptionally vulnerable. When you see an aura come around him, you can stagger him out of his charge up by hitting him enough times, though if he succeeds, all that really does is make him jump around the field. Granted, you need some exceptional timing to dodge underneath him, which I can only do 2 out of 3 times on average. Cran might be a Ronin, but I'm pretty sure Keanu Reeves can kick his ass. Number 14, the Tree of Men. Sexist name much? Excuse me, but women can be corpses tied to a mechanical golem spirit just as much as men can? Sheesh. The tree of non-gender specific individuals is a real non-denominational asshole. You have to kill each of the glowing ladies and gentlemen in order to open access to the boss's head, while avoiding constantly alternating flamethrowers and the boss's own slamming limbs. Establishing a proper pattern is key, and the timing when moving from the right side to the left is very strict if you don't want to get burned or fall to your death. Wait for the boss to wind up a swing and then quickly move to the upper or lower platform. Assuming your timing doesn't get its wires crossed with the business end of a flamethrower, you'll be just fine. Number 15, the Coveted. The Coveted is an executioner's axe that weighs a ton and is fondled by ghosts who want to smack you with it. Technically, the ghosts are the boss, but only the axe takes damage. They'll spend a lot of time just letting it be on the ground for you to hit, but roll away when one goes to pick it up as it releases a shockwave. From there, one will start swinging it around at you while the other fires projectiles. Dodging stuff here isn't that hard, and the ghosts frequently get fed up with the axe and just toss it at you, so doing damage is easy too. But getting caught in a storm of shots can wreck your life, so don't be doing that. Number 16, Murdy Yella Mal. This boss definitely has the prettiest slashes. Far up above the island, Mal's fortress hovers under the perpetual night sky, where Mal awaits using starlight projectiles to burn holes in your body and uses her scyther claws to shinily eviscerate you. It's such a beautiful sight, I almost don't care that my torso is by itself on the ground. Glitterbug waifu Mal teleports around and attacks with little warning, but her starlight bullets paint certain areas on the floor and leave her open. Later on in the fight, she'll summon what is basically a homing soul mask that will launch itself at you when you get close enough. And if you're not getting close enough, Mal will teleport directly up your ass and the bullets will hit you on the way. She's weak to like every element besides holy though, so you'll be doing good damage if you have a charm or something on. Number 17, the Forgotten King. The Forgotten King is actually 3 dudes, and boy do they like to jump around. All of them are acting like we're on a goddamn moon base, and one of them ignores gravity completely. You'll want to kill the floater first so you don't have to deal with projectiles, but despite the cluttered numbers on screen, it's not difficult to dodge most of what they got going on. Once it's down to the 2 melee guys left, you can take whichever one out first, but if you leave the king alive, you should know that he has a crazy foot fetish. He's just kicking non-stop. After a while, it's embarrassing to be knocked to the ground with a flat-heeled leg push. Like, Jesus, you have a scepter. Can you at least swing that around a couple times? Almost still kicking? Alright. It's borderline insulting. Please put him down. Number 18, Kraken Dragon Scores. Kraken Dragon Scores is the boss that made me quit Salt and Sanctuary the first time around a couple of years ago. I just couldn't figure him out for some reason, but then I come back for this boss ranking and I'm just like, oh, you just dodge. Using air dash to quickly get away from attacks is helpful. It takes 2 full rolls to get on the other side of them when you need to, and his attacks just really aren't much of a problem, except his lightning breath, which you should run very far away from, or if you're cornered, very quickly roll past him. When he starts doing his electric trident stuff, watch out for the lingering energy it leaves on the ground, but this boss really isn't so bad anymore. I feel like I remember his trident slam one-shotting me. I must not have had good armor. You guys are upgrading that, right? You should. Almost as important as upgrading weapons. I never needed to do it in Dark Souls, but here it makes a big difference. Number 19, the Third Lamb. I don't know who's naming these things, but lamb is like the only animal that isn't represented in this amalgamation of random wildlife body parts. It's got a crab pincer for a beak, a scorpion tail, and I've lost interest. The third lamb is super bulky, and the fight gets real tense as it goes on. This hungry hippogriff has all sorts of attacks, and the more damage you do to it, the more they all combo into each other. It requires a lot of trial and error to see how every move fits together, but one thing that remains constant is rolling behind it when it charges up its lightning breath. Now you see me using Shockstone on my weapon, and you may think to yourself, isn't it mildly pointless to use lightning on a creature that has lightning attacks? Yes, it sure is, but I did it anyway. The third lamb is actually weak to fire and arcane, but these are things you can't really learn unless you look them up, which I didn't do until just now. Once its health gets low, you really don't have a lot of opportunities to hurt it, so just be patient and rush in there recklessly and die right at the end and then rage quit. Number 20, the Disemboweled Husk. Maybe this will be a more divisive pick, but I have major trouble with this boss. You can't stand at any kind of range against him because he'll just pull out his flame-shooting flintlock and blow you away if you don't roll perfectly, but he also has a scatter shot he fires up in the air that makes you run away from him, just so he can then trap you at range. When you're near, he's got some sword slashes that aren't hard to dodge, but also don't leave him that open until he does the lunge attack, which he doesn't always do. The Husk requires very considerate, methodical movement and timing, non-stop, because you have to stay close, and one mistake can end your salty existence. Stacking up lightning resistance doesn't help either, mostly because his attacks are fire, so that would be dumb. Number 21, the Nameless God. The final boss is the second hardest. This was my first experience fighting this guy since I never got to him before, and it was quite cinematically nice from my perspective. He reminds me of just a faster Ronin Kran with magic attacks and better tracking. It's a bit of a dick that you have to take fall damage before you even start, but it's still super fun and wraps up the experience well. Get ready for some delayed combo strings where he basically just decides to add attacks whenever he feels like it to throw you off. The lightning attack can be dodged by a wall jump / air dash or just booking it to the opposite side of the stage, but mostly you'll just have to use your expert skills / massive stock of healing items to beat the Nameless God at his own game of hack and slash. Number 22, the Witch of the Lake. The hardest boss in Salt and Sanctuary for me, and the one who made me quit my Let's Play series back in the day, the Witch of the Lake. This boss puts the salt in Salt and Sanctuary. There is no other boss who has so many attacks that just decimate you if you handle them wrong. Basically everything the witch has is a barrage of magic darkness that lights you up like a firing squad and requires dexterous aerobatics to avoid. Never let her get far away from you. She will launch that screen-wide hellstorm the first chance she gets when she knows you're out of place, and you will die with 1,000 gaping holes in your goddamn soul. Stay close at all times and always dodge the lesser projectile swarms the same way. If even a third of them connect, you will die with precisely that many gaping holes in your goddamn soul. You're lucky if you only get hit by her flailing arms. That's literally the only attack that doesn't insta-kill. If you're a magic user, I just give up. I don't know how you dealt with this shit. I never tried it, but it seems insurmountable. No boss is this frustrating. You can try so hard and get so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. And at that point, that's a justifiable time to hang yourself. Well, that's gonna do it for this boss ranking. I have others on other games like Dark Souls and Kingdom Hearts you can check out if you're new here. You can watch my failed playthrough of Salt and Sanctuary on YouTube if you want to see me suffer, but I think I'm also gonna start a new one soon because collecting this footage made me remember how absolutely awesome this game is, and I'm not bad at it anymore. Like, share, and subscribe and whatnot, and I'll see you guys next time.